As introduced, my name's Nick Beagley. I'm the, I come under many titles. I lead the program of Enhanced Human Performance. I'm a research leader, which means that I look after a research branch, which are groups around Australia who work within DST, groups of scientists who do their own human science research in the areas of sort of cognition, physical performance, and also food and nutrition. Really, if I'm going to give you an overview of sort of defence, what I've really got to do here is provide you with an indication of our strategic direction. For all of us in defence, we've had some really important documents delivered this year. On the left, you've got the Defence Strategic Update, which really is that update to the Defence White Paper of 2016, which sets out what we really must achieve within defence to meet the requirements of government. And it's around shaping Australia's strategic environment, deterring the actions that are against Australia's interest, and really responding with credible force. Now, there's much more detail there, and there's links to fact sheets. If you want to know more, go in and have a look. But these are important shifts in the direction and a real emphasis on the importance of defence with growing threats in many areas. The companion document to this is the Force Structure Plan, which really just shows major investments in many emerging areas of science, technology, and capability, this is really significant investment. If I was to characterise the main change, it really is saying not only do we have to be very capable in these areas, we have to have our sovereign capability to be able to deliver our defence effects here. And the Force Structure Plan really sets out those details. The third key document is actually one that DST, Defence Science and Technology Group, has developed on behalf of defence. So in the past, DST has really operated as its own sort of independent group within defence, and our strategic plans would say what DST was going to do for the future and the future of science and technology. The More Together S&T strategy for defence 2030 is taking a whole of defence view. It is looking about how we come together to deliver S&T, but not just as DST, not just as all of the members of defence, but as a community. So the More Together really says it all. It is about how do we connect to deliver more through research. And the other pillars of that are, it's through people and it's through our national infrastructure that we're going to achieve those outcomes. Anyway, let me move on to where that takes us for our program. So as I said, DST has many sort of internal research capabilities, and I've just sort of picked a selection from across the various divisions within DST. We provide support for Army, Navy, Air Force, and Joint, so everything from submarine control room design to distributed simulation for the training, command, control, and particularly for the Air Force. Soldier systems integration and close combatants, food and nutrition, the physical standards for selection of all of our trades are subject of a major research program, tactical decision making and understanding how we think. There's many research activities that go on within DST, but the tradition 5 or 6 years ago, it would be predominantly those programs of what could DST scientists do themselves. The real change that we've seen over the last several years is an increase in financial investment with the expectation that DST would partner with external research providers. So that's led us on a path that really brought us to HPRnet. Now, I apologize, this is a very busy diagram, I recognize that, but around sort of 2015, Army recognized that what DST was doing, it might have been great, but it was insufficient. They saw the opportunity of human performance as a real game changer for their capability. It fundamentally underpins every aspect of what they did. And they came up with $4 million over 4 years to expand the research that was undertaken. And if you look at this diagram here, you can see on the left-hand side a list of research activities that were undertaken with Army funding from 2016. On the right-hand side, you can see another set of research activities with different research partners across Australia that were initiated following an open call in 2019. And then there's a few others dotted through the middle there, which is actually a set of research activities that are being invested in through our partnership with the Office of Naval Research Global from the US. And again, just to look for those opportunities of how do we understand human performance as it relates to the missions that our military personnel have to undertake, and how can we move the dial? How can we enhance the ability of our warfighters to prevail within contested environments? Now, they're arrayed here. You'll notice there's a diagram in the middle, which is essentially a loop. You may have heard of the OODA loop. It's sort of it's essentially how we function within the world. We sense our environment. We think either reflexively or reflectively about our environment, and how we want that in the world to be. And we make decisions, and we act in the world by moving or interacting with it or communicating. And this is a sort of a continual loop where we're constantly evaluating the world and our place in it. And this representation is really just meant to demonstrate the spread of opportunity that has been seen by defence and by our research partners across Australia to better understand and better influence the ability of our warfighters to perform in their mission. So there's a range of titles there. I don't propose to unpack them now. You can see all of these details. They're all published on the DST website. You can look to our past symposia where there are posters and videos, and really understand the detail of the research questions there. Or indeed, online this morning, we've got a bunch of technical leads from DST who would be happy to talk about any of those detailed activities. But there isn't really time for me to go into that now. So that's HPRnet as it stands. The studies on the left-hand side, the 2016 studies, are drawing to a conclusion, and we're looking at how best we can implement the insights that have been gathered through those activities and pull those through to Army capability in particular. And the studies on the right-hand side are midway through a 4-year program. And again, we'll be looking at how we pull those through to capability. And I have no doubt that when it comes to data science, statistics, and mathematics, there are all sorts of opportunities to do more with the data that's being gathered. Right, I have 2 more slides. This next one is, this is a slide that I pulled together following our Emerging and Disruptive Technology Symposium in 2018. And human biotechnologies, this is an emerging frontier, as you all know, and many of the things we'll go on to talk about later this morning, like the microbiome, are related to this. And it is very broad, and the opportunities are huge, and the data is overwhelming. Again, I don't want to unpack any of these topics. If you want to see more details, they're up on YouTube, and you can follow any of those presentations, and there's some really intriguing opportunities that lie there. But this is something that we'll be looking to expand further, and there will be a call for partners in the area of human biotechnologies coming out in the next month or so. So that's one to watch out for. So really, just to conclude, I'd say that the ubiquity, the resolution, reliability of human measurement, it's just growing beyond the capacity of our analytical techniques, our traditional methods. And that the opportunities that I see, particularly with the community that you represent, with data science, it's just going to be so important to seizing the potential that comes from the data, and extracting the advantage that exists in that. And we need to do that if we are going to remain competitive with any potential future adversary. So I will leave it at that, and happy to take any questions, and hopefully I haven't gone too much over my 10 minutes. So Angela, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Beagley.